Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another Neurodivergent Ninja Formula One piece. Speaking this time specifically about the Monaco Grand Prix. If you were watching the video earlier with regards to me liking Max Verstappen, thinking the season's all exciting, I said I would talk about Monaco a little bit and sort of put a spin on a bit of a negative view of a certain driver. I think it's very clear to see that the two drivers that definitely didn't have a good reputation at the end of the races was Esteban Ocon and Kevin Magnussen, K-Mag. I mean, the first thing is I am genuinely agreeing with so many people in wondering how Kevin Magnussen has not been banned for a race. He's should have accumulated the penalty points based on the weekend. He should have had a race ban. That's the facts of it. But here's the sad thing. Apart from like a couple of situations, I think there was like 2 overtakes in total in the race. Those were the only 2 things that were even close to a move in Monaco. Now I know that Monaco is meant to be a single file, all the way around. And if we want overtaking, we've got to have smaller cars. Not going to happen anytime soon. So, what is the solution? What is the solution to the Monaco Grand Prix conundrum? What do we need to do? I've heard many suggestions from people with regards to doing something like what was it? Stupid things like go-kart races around Monaco rather than actual Formula One races. I've heard people talk about do the qualifying at Monaco and then do the race somewhere else. I've heard that. I've even heard some of the things in terms of where they do special liveries for Monaco to make it feel special. You can almost have like a historic day of the teams all being there, and that sounds interesting and actually quite close to. I'm wondering if this could be the new solution. See, we want smaller cars. We want it to be special. We want Monaco to feel like a special Grand Prix. So why don't we make it a special Grand Prix in that we get cars that are small enough and historical? What do I mean by that? Why don't we bring back the cars from the 60s? And I know this sounds like a very risky prospect, and I get it because the 60s Formula One cars are ridiculously valuable. But why not? Why not have it where for one race, aerodynamics are not a thing? For one race, we have it where the cars are small. For one race, we have it where the F1 drivers are in old school gear. I mean, let's be honest. We'd all love a little bit of that, wouldn't we? We could have some sort of branding on it or anything like that, but we have it like that. Now, I understand there's going to be a few little teething problems with that. I'm going to throw some ideas at this, right? So, Monaco Grand Prix. The constructors don't pay for the cars. We have it where the cars are there, they're prepared, they're ready to go. But the constructors also don't get any points from it. And it makes sense because at the end of the day, if we went forward with this, the constructors won't be providing with the cars. Maybe they could service it, maybe that could be part of it. But interesting as part of that, we could have it where Yes, the Formula One drivers still have the safety aspects, but there is some old school vibes to it. People looking in the old school dress and everything like that. This is a vintage Grand Prix, so why not add a vintage touch to it? Now, otherwise, yes, let's face it, it was a boring Grand Prix. Yes, let's face it, the um, lack of what was I going to say? The lack of pit stops made it even more boring. In a weird way, that was a good thing because I think we're all starting to have this real feel good factor. The Lando no wins curse has gone, and now the Leclerc Monaco curse has gone, thanks to basically everything that happened. But I don't know. I feel like we need something more from Monaco. Need some brainstorming. Need some tweaking of it because we've run a very high risk of losing the Monaco Grand Prix. And whilst, yes, that could be considered as a positive because Monaco pays the least amount of money, so, money wise, Formula One's in a better place, we can't lose Monaco. Now, I'm not here as a Monaco defender. I absolutely hate a boring Grand Prix where everyone's following each other. I really do. But Monaco is part of the traditions. The Monaco Grand Prix is part of the traditions. The Triple Crown, forget it if Monaco goes. That is literally the jewel in the crown. We have drivers that can qualify for the Triple Crown because they have won the Monaco Grand Prix. Max Verstappen, Fernando Alonso, Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc, Daniel Ricciardo. They could all go for the Triple Crown. And do you really want to take it away from future Formula One drivers? From future Indy 500 winners? From future, from the present Le Mans 24 Hours? No, of course not. It's the one thing that connects us. And here's the thing: if the Triple Crown goes, the heritage of people like Graham Hill goes. And that is what Formula One's been all about always. Heritage. We've seen where McLaren did a tribute to Senna and it was absolutely wonderful. Looked a little bit like the Jordan car, but it was still wonderful. Tributes are made on a regular basis to drivers from the past because of the things that they've done. People like Jim Clark, people like Graham Hill, people like Manuel Fangio, people like Ayrton Senna, people like Michael Schumacher. Although I think Michael Schumacher is going to be one of those where that name will never go away. But people like Jackie X, people like Gilles Villeneuve, people like Didier Pironi. And you start taking away Monaco, you take away a little bit of the soul because people will start to forget some of these drivers. Graham Hill was probably the least popular name that I mentioned, and the thing that makes him popular is the Triple Crown. He is one of the drivers that has done the Triple Crown. The Le Mans 24-hour win, the Indy 500, and the Monaco Grand Prix. You take away the Monaco Grand Prix, the Triple Crown's no longer a thing. You take away the Triple Crown, Graham Hill doesn't get mentioned as much. It's so important, so vital that in everything we don't run the risk that Monaco becomes such a bore fest that we lose it for good. And maybe having it as a fun little heritage day, maybe having it as that fun Grand Prix where the drivers are still there but they are driving historic cars of the same era, maybe, and work out so there's similar sort of pace. Just an idea. Maybe it's a bit of fun that we can do. I do remember, whilst it was cringy because of the fact that it was like the unluckiest race that Mercedes ever had, it was still fun to watch Mercedes in the old gear, Toto Wolff looking like the old Mercedes boss from yesteryear. Honestly, it was so wonderful to watch. I think, was it 2019 Hockenheim? Let's bring a taste of that back. I don't know, maybe I'm spitballing. I'm probably coming up with the most useless suggestion of all, but something needs to be done. And if we're not going to make the cars any smaller, and we can't make the roads any wider, is a blooming city. Maybe we can do something about making it a bit different. But those are my thoughts. What would you do to make the Monaco Grand Prix more special? What would you do to make the Monaco Grand Prix more enjoyable as a weekend? What would you do to save the Monaco Grand Prix? Leave your thoughts down below.